Hey everyone, and welcome to the Atomic Cinema Experiment. We are a sci-fi movie podcast. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Tara.
Greetings, citizens.
Yeah, and you forgot to do that last episode actually, and I think it was my fault
No way.
because of the way I introduced it. Or you remember to do it, but like I just kind of steamrolled on, and then you eventually went, "Greetings, citizens." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm supposed to introduce it, you and myself." Why? I don't know why I'm explaining this at the start of this episode. Who knows? We talk about sci-fi movies. In this episode, we are discussing a film from this year. We're going to talk about Alita: Battle Angel. So we're going to talk about that. We'll start spoiler-free. We'll give you a warning before we go into spoilers, and that's what we're going to do.
Wasn't this movie I know you said this year, but wasn't it delayed like 3 times?
I'm pretty sure there was a point like 15 years ago that when they first announced James Cameron was going to direct Alita: Battle Angel. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, yeah.
how many times it's been delayed?
Probably more than 3 then.
Yeah. Obviously, he did not direct this. He is one of the producers, but it's Robert Rodriguez who is the director, who's kind of like a everyman director. And he's got some very distinctive films, but he's also done a lot of stuff, and he's got a lot of variety in his filmography. You have half of From Dusk
He's very
Till
hit or
Dawn.
miss for me.
Yeah, you've got Spy Kids, and then you've got Planet Terror, and then you've got he's all over the place. That's Desperado, whatever. So he's directing this. This is a film which is based on I want to say manga. It's either a manga or an anime. Manga and well, no, I'm not. I'm not disputing with myself over the pronunciation of manga. If I'm saying manga,
it's like mango, but with an A at the end.
Yes. If I'm saying manga wrong, I don't care. It's fine. Just let me go with it. Or is it based on an anime? I think it's a manga, not an anime. But regardless,
I don't know. It's not my wheelhouse.
Clearly, it's not mine either. In fact, one of the criteria for being accepted onto this show as a co-host, one of the reasons why Tara's even on Male Fuzz TV is because she said the first time we ever spoke, I can't stand anime, and I was like, okay, you're hired because I'm
okay. It's not that I can't stand it; it's that many of people have tried to tell me that it's great, and
Yes.
I've sat down and watched it, and I've never seen anything great. It's always just been like, I don't get this.
Convoluted messes is typically what I usually end up seeing. And that's not to say that every Japanese piece of animated work is like that, because Miyazaki from Studio Ghibli, I don't think of his stuff in the same wheelhouse as I do like Evangelion and all those other anime series.
Yeah, Attack on Titan,
Yeah.
Sword Art Online. Those are the ones that I've been forced to watch.
Wait, Sword Art Online, I thought that was a game. It sounds like a video game.
I think it's a game based on the show, which is a show about a video game.
I love a lot of things about Japan, but anime is definitely not one of them.
Yeah, it's just so messy. I don't know. It's not my thing.
But here's the thing. As much as this sounds like we're tangenting at the start of this episode, this is actually relevant information, because this movie being based on that part of that culture, more. I mean, manga and anime kind of go hand in hand. It's kind of the like a lot of anime are based on manga. Like they're the kind of peas in a pod. So us expressing,
this is a very anime film.
It is no, and I think us expressing our opinions on that sets up the context for how we're going to frame this conversation and our feelings and how we might have reacted to the movie.
Sure.
I think the last thing I'll say about anime, and by extension manga, is that what annoys me about it and why I don't like it, or what annoys me about not liking it, is that conceptually a lot of what's in a lot of them should appeal to me, because I love science fiction, I love cyborgs, I love mechs and monsters, and like a lot of things that are in these stories I should love, but it's the execution, it's the way they're written, it's the way they pace the stories, it's the way they have certain types of character that I can't do.
There's a lot of tropes that I recognize. There's always like a post-apocalyptic world. Everything's always huge. Like gargantuan.
Yep.
And it's usually like this environment in order to not like tell a great story about the human condition, but it's like, let's use this environment to just make things look cool, and lots of blood and action and stuff that I don't really care about.
Yeah. I mean, I can care about that if the human story is there to back it up, but
Sure.
yeah, you know. So you know, and this might lose me a lot of credibility with some people, but I actually really like the Pacific Rim movies, which are probably the most anime thing I like.
I only saw the first one and I didn't like it.
That's fair. That's fair. I enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed the second one, and it was probably, you know, I guess where I draw the line is I grew up with Power Rangers, and that was more my Power Rangers love, kind of like being fed in those movies, because obviously based on hell, even half the footage is from a Japanese TV show. It's not even just based on the Japanese TV show. Half of the footage is from.
I watched Power Rangers growing up too.
Yeah,
that was my jam.
Well, who didn't?
I even kind of liked the movie.
As did I. I mean, who didn't love Power Rangers in our age group?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think I was really nice there. I said our age group. I think I've grown as a person and I've accepted you into the same age group as me.
Yeah, I wasn't about to correct you.
We are the same age group. Come on, it's 4 years. It's not that different. That's the same generation. We're both millennials. You're just gonna have to deal with it.
I don't know what that means.
It means we're over like 23, but less than 38, I think. Something like that. Oh. Something in that range.
It means I'm something that older people get upset about.
Yeah, but really young people
don't appreciate certain things.
But really young people look at us as the oldies now, unfortunately. That's the thing that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right. They should respect their elders.
They should, little shits. So what is the premise of Alita Battle Angel? Alita Battle Angel is set in a future where there was a war hundreds of years ago, and we've left in this remains. We've got Iron City, where all of our characters exist, and cyborg augmentations are very normal. Lots of people have like robotic arms or legs, or you know, some people have full like robotic bodies under their head. Alita specifically is a cyborg that's found in the remnants by one of our main characters. Christoph Waltz plays Dr. Ido, and Ido finds her, and he does mention that she has a human brain, so she was human originally at some point, and put into a completely cybernetic body. But he wakes her up, she's got amnesia, and the movie's largely about her kind of learning what type of person she is, her place in the world, you know, a love interest that she sort of becomes smitten with, and obviously some villains that are kind of want her because she's this old tech that's been like illegal for centuries, and so on and so on. And it's also worth mentioning there's also a richer city that's actually floating in the sky. There's like a sort of and this is
an Elysium.
Yeah, this is a concept we've seen in a bunch of things. Elysium's one of them. More recently, there was a pretty bad show on Netflix called Altered Carbon, which had this idea where all the rich people lived in the sky. So that was a thing in that show. So it's a very common sci-fi trope, is the rich people living in a city that no one else can get to. And the goal for a lot of characters is to somehow get to that city. Like, you know, if I make the deals with the right people who've got connections, can I somehow get up there? But Alita, of course, in the war was someone who could fight, and she quickly kind of learns from her reflexes that she knows how to fight, and that becomes a big part of the movie. Before I ask how we feel about it, I want to also set up some context here for how did we feel about this before the movie? Like, I mean, I know
the trailers.
Yeah, I know the answer to this because you've told me already. But for the sake of the audience,
yeah, I felt like I watched that trailer for like a year. Every time I went into the theater, it was always on. It probably was like something that premiered the previous Christmas and then didn't come out to the next one. And right away, I didn't like the animation style. I thought, you know, she was kind of weird looking and with her big anime eyes, and I didn't like the CGI, and I just didn't. The trailers did not sell me on the movie at all.
Yeah, bizarrely,
I skipped it for that reason.
Yeah, that's fair. Bizarrely, I was actually cautiously optimistic about this film going in, and I'm not going to reveal how I feel about it yet, because I like to hold that in until the question's been asked. But I was cautiously optimistic after the second trailer, because we got like the first trailer and it looked kind of like whatever, bit anime, whatever.
Yeah.
The trailer though that had the Linkin Park cover, the piano version of I think Great Divide was the song, or something to that extent, and I remember actually kind of getting into that trailer, and I think music was a big part of it, but like the action looked a little bit more interesting. It looked like, okay, I like stories where you have cyborgs learning their humanity and like learning they've got something to fight for. I'm a big fan of that type of concept. Like, and again, this goes back to my conversation about anime, where I do tend to like a lot of the concepts that they play with. It's just the execution. But the trailer made me think, oh, maybe this is just going to be, untangled enough to work for me, and maybe I'll get into it. Despite,
but the reviews came out and they were not great either, so that like just kind of confirmed my suspicion. I went, all right, I'm just gonna not waste my time.
It was very mixed. But on that subject, though, I just mentioned that I liked Pacific Rim 2, which also did not review well, and I loved that movie anyway. So
yeah, I like movies that don't get reviewed well.
So sometimes it happens. Sometimes you'll just happen to like something.
But when you're already like on the fence about whether or not you want to see something, and then the reviews are like, "Don't go." Like, all right.
But of course, you do a sci-fi movie podcast now, and we have to do all the big sci-fi motion pictures that come out in some form or another. So we watched Alita Pacific Rim, Alita Battle Angel. Not a great title. Why not just Alita? I mean, Alita's a unique enough name that that could be a title. Why does it have to have the Battle Angel?
Yeah, so I didn't like the Battle Angel. I think it just added to the whole like, oh, this is the anime thing that I'm probably not gonna like.
Yeah, it sounds like that. And just before we finally get to asking the question, did we like this movie or not? Although Tara's not exactly keeping us in too much suspense. Is at one point James Cameron was going to direct this. And regardless of whether or not I liked or disliked this movie, it would have been better if James Cameron directed it.
Well, always. That's always the case.
Like, because when you look at Avatar, and we'll do Avatar, probably not too long before Avatar 2 comes out, but Avatar has
I'm actually really excited for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were weirdos in that we're both excited for Avatar 2 when everyone else on the planet's like, Avatar's so lame.
Whatever. They all liked it when it came out. They all saw it and they all sat there and wonder and went, oh my God, it's in 3D. It's like I'm really there. And then when the movie was over, they're like, you know what? It was a lot like Ferngully or Dances with Wolves. Like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? So it's a concept that's been done before. It's still very original.
I can't wait till we do Avatar because the salt that's going to come from Tara is going to be unprecedented. But like, here's the thing though, Avatar actually does have some anime qualities. Like they have mech suits and shit.
For sure. Edge of Tomorrow, which we haven't done yet, is based on like an anime, I think, or a manga, and I love that movie.
It's a damn solid movie. So
stupid title, but I love it.
Yeah, they should have kept the original title. The original title is so much better.
I don't like any of the 3 titles.
Okay. All You Need Is Kill? You don't like that title?
No, it's dumb.
Oh, that's a great title. That's a catchy title. You go, what does that mean? Like, oh, that's great. Yeah, that's my favorite of the 3. And I don't like Edge of Tomorrow, but it annoyed me that they tried to change it. Like, I don't hate Live, Die, Repeat, but because they tried to like change it as if no one would notice, that pisses me off.
Live, Die, Repeat was the tagline.
Yes.
On the poster. But it was huge, so everyone thought that was the title because then it in like tiny letters at the bottom it said Edge of Tomorrow.
Yep.
Which sounds kind of like a romance novel.
Yeah, so like the thought of what James Cameron could, if James Cameron also wrote the script, which I think would make it more streamlined and better. I would, I think this would be a better movie no matter what if James Cameron did it. But we didn't get that movie. We got the Robert Rodriguez movie. So without further ado, Tara, like anyone's like going to be surprised at the answer you're about to give, did you enjoy Alita: Battle Angel?
Well, hold on to your butts because I actually kind of liked it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I would see 2 more of these.
You're shitting me right now, right? This is a joke.
I liked it.
After that 15 minutes of build up.
That was you just assuming. I still have all the same feelings about anime and manga. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Oh, this is a swerve. This is I did not see this coming. Holy shit. I really expected you to come in here and hate this.
No, I didn't hate it at all. I was at maybe it's because my expectations were like on the floor level low. They were so low going in. But, it was the most coherent like anime thing I've ever seen. And I thought the action was pretty cool. I liked for some reason the CGI like totally blew me away watching it, even though in the trailers I was just like rolling my eyes the whole time. And it works in the movie. And it's a beautiful world. I like the setting. Not everything works for me, obviously, but overall, I'm actually pretty positive. And yeah. I know your mind is blown.
I don't. What? But that's just like if Tim came in and said that he changed his mind and he hated the boy all this time, or if Connor sat there and says, you know what, I've changed my mind, I actually really like Christmas now. Like something silly like that. What?
Yeah. I'd watch more of these. I thought it was pretty good.
Well, it bombed
Did you
hard.
Like it?
It bombed hard, so I wouldn't get too excited about the sequel.
Yeah, I know.
Did I like it? Well, now I've got this to live up to. How's my answer going to compete with this? I was disappointed, and I didn't have like extreme expectations, but I thought I might like it in the same way that I like a Pacific Rim. I was thinking it'll be kind of shallow, but it may have a bit of heart, and I would get into the character because and I think the best thing about the movie is her. I think her performance, and
yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she the actress Rosa Salazar, like she is the best part of the movie, and I wanted to like it. I really did. I come down somewhere really, like, honestly, I was really middling on it, and then the final like 20 minutes, like, I kind of hated.
Yeah, there's an arc with a character that I don't really care about at all that happens, and then there's like an additional ending tacked on to the ending that we already got.
Yep.
That I didn't really need because of that arc. So
here's the thing. This movie, like, from the trailers, like, I really got this idea that she was going to fight for her past and she was going to fight for herself. And the movie really hinges on the romance between her and her love interest, Hugo. And I don't like this romance. I don't really like his character, and I don't care for it at all. So when the movie in the third act started to, like, because I thought, okay, we've got our love interest, he'll play into the plot, but I didn't think he was going to be the core, like, not MacGuffin, but the core thing that the entire third act emotionally revolves around. And because of that, the third act was the worst part for me, where I'm just like, I don't care about that. Like, that should be a side plot, if that. Not that she needs a love interest, she doesn't.
No, I agree. The love interest part is the part that kind of doesn't work for me either. I mean, they're both fine actors, and she does have a teenager's brain and a 300-year-old body, but it's so you can kind of understand why it's there. It is still very much a young adult movie.
I think the problem
with a ton of violence,
with a lot of violence. I think the problem with it, outside of just not feeling the chemistry and not really feeling the progression of it, because it does feel really forced and quick.
Well, I feel it from her, but I don't feel it from him.
Sure. But none of the emotional beats land for me when they actually try and play them as the movie goes on. But I think the other big problem with it is it's just there's a lot of tropes that it's going through as it does all this stuff. There's a lot of really cliched ideas.
Yeah, she's trying to be a rebel against her dad.
Yeah, the one that really bugged me is a plot, and because again, it's something we've seen before, is that, and not always in a sci-fi movie, but girl's into guy that she thinks is great, but the guy's actually doing something kind of shady he doesn't want her to know about. I'm like, how many times have I seen this? And it just, like, you feel like you're going through the motions.
Oh yeah, it's all the same tropes, but in a whole new package, because this is a world that we don't know. And I mean, it's all done with cyborgs, which is kind of interesting.
And the stuff I was looking forward to getting to turned out to be never in this movie. It's like, no, we're sequel baiting that for next time, and we're never going to get that. Yeah. So, like, okay, yeah, fine.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah, they were teasing that Elysium a lot.
Yeah. But I don't know. And there was a lot of other, like, I felt like there's a lot of great ideas in here that they don't really explore that well. Like, the idea of, like, how, like, people all being cybernetic and having cyborg like arms and stuff, or even
Yeah,
her.
they're all like augmented people.
I feel like the movie
Nobody has their original limbs in this movie.
Christoph Waltz does.
Yeah, except for Christoph Waltz.
But I feel like the movie never really like if we're going to do this and we're going to be in this world, like, can we explore that a little bit? Can we like have characters kind of like talk about themes of like what does it mean to, because you know it becomes quite
Yeah,
clear.
it seems to be at a point now where it's just totally accepted that everyone has just what happens. You have your Nike heart and
Because I feel like the boyfriend, right, Hugo, there's almost never like a point where she doubts that he like might not be into her because she's, you know, a cyborg, and there's no point where we see him doubt that, oh, maybe it's weird that I'm into a cyborg. Like, and I get that maybe the world's at the point now where that's more normal, but it feels weird to me in this movie to like it doesn't feel it to me like they're making a point of saying no, this is normal now. To me it feels like the script just didn't bother, like they didn't bother writing and exploring
yeah, I mean his friends kind of do make that point. They call her hard body.
Yeah, hard
What's
body,
that?
yeah.
Yeah. And they kind of make fun of him for it. But so there it is there a little bit. And I guess his arc on why he decides not to do certain things anymore is because of it. But
yeah, there's a lot of things that are slightly there, but it's all very surface level. I don't feel like it explores like these ideas. I think the villains are like so surface level and barely we barely see them, and like I'm supposed to feel like she's standing up against this big bad guy towards the end. We'll talk about who the villains are.
Yeah,
Spoilers,
and how much I mean, did they just reuse the Blade costume for Mahershala Ali's character? He just looked like Blade the entire time.
And then you know there's like a bigger bad behind him, which again is clearly sequel bait. They're clearly, and you know, they reveal an actor towards the end of the movie who's playing the real villain, right? And it's like, oh, they're like, okay, I guess they were planning something.
Yeah, they got a name.
And I'm like, okay, that's neat and all, but I don't know. I felt very unfulfilled by the end. I felt very unfulfilled by what they chose to explore. Like, pick what your theme is and explore that theme. God damn it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so here's an example. Right? I don't think this is a spoiler to say that, you know, part of this world is that there's no cops, but lots of people volunteer to like sign up to be a hunter murderer.
Warrior?
Hunter killer. I don't know. Hunter killer is one of the robots in Terminator or something like that. But like the idea that they basically just sign up to be like you know, think of the old west of people just like taking bounties kind of thing. So you know, she at one point decides because she wants to fight back, she wants to be one of these bounty hunters. So she signs up and does this, and somehow there's like zero exploration of the fact that she is now an official bounty hunter, and the first time she's even faced with the possibility of having to execute someone is like in the third act of the movie, when I'm like, shouldn't this have been like a whole like act 2 of this movie, is her like realizing what she's gotten herself into and honing her skills or something.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in the movie. Like she's becoming a bounty hunter, she's also becoming like a professional roller derby metal ball thing.
Motorball. I thought they were calling it murder ball, and I thought that's a bit dark, but it's motorball because they're wearing like roller blades that are like have engines. They're powered and they move.
Right, and they do all have like murderous weapons, and I think people do get killed.
They probably do, yeah. Murder ball's the relaxed, like casual, like name for it.
I think Murder Ball is a movie. I think it's like a B movie.
It sounds like one. I mean, unless you're thinking of Rollerball.
I want to say Murder Ball exists.
It probably does. It sounds like a movie. You can look it up. So yeah, I'm quite negative, and I like some of the ideas, of course. I like some of the stylistic choices. The CG is a funny one because some of it's impressive and some of it isn't, but it ultimately left me feeling sometimes like I was watching Ready Player One again.
The types of cyborg that Alita is and like others like her, they do look like Ready Player One.
And not even just that,
but it still kind of worked for me in this.
It was the stadium for the motorball, all the crowd and stuff. It was all really CG, and it just had that kind of fake, like Ready Player One look to it. and it just, I don't know, like obviously it has to be CG because it's just that type of movie, but I like that it's colorful. At least I like that, you know, Ready Player One was sometimes had this like sort of tint to it. At least this was colorful, which I'll take over other things any day of the week. And I do kind of like that it goes kind of nuts with its action at the very least. I do think the third act though was lacking like a proper action scene. I felt like it never really had the big blow off at the end. It was just kind of like, no, we have to care about the emotional stuff, which I don't care about because the emotional stuff's not very good.
So Murderball exists, but it's not a B movie. It's a documentary.
That's very different from a B movie.
Yeah.
What sport?
A quadriplegic who plays full contact rugby in wheelchairs overcomes unimaginable obstacles to compete in the Paralympic Games in Athens, Greece. So
what was the you just couldn't pronounce the word Paralympics?
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like a made up word. Paralympics.
That was an interesting mistake. Some dumb B movie. Oh no, it's a documentary about a guy with.
It says there's also one from the same year with Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O in it. So.
Oh God.
But it's like a TV movie, some kind of Jackass thing, I guess.
Yeah, I want no part of that. Give me the documentary. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm totally interested now.
So, yeah, I mean that's kind of my general feelings in the movie. We'll get into the plot and talk about the details in a bit, but dear, some of the music was actually not bad.
Oh yeah, I didn't mind it. Some of it kind of stood out to me. I can't remember what scene it was. It might have been when she first.
I've got a guess as to who yeah, I've got a guess as to who the composer is. So I'm just checking. I want to see if I'm right.
Giacchino.
I do like Giacchino.
He does everything.
I do like Giacchino. There's a lot of cast in this. Jeez, I was scrolling for a while there. I was completely wrong. I was going to guess Alan Silvestri because there was one cue that sounded like Predator. It was actually Junkie XL who did Mad Max Fury Road, which does have a fantastic soundtrack.
That's a great score.
Yeah, it does indeed. Okay, there was hints of that in there. He also did half a Batman v Superman though, which
I don't remember the score.
That's because it was, other than the theme that they brought back from Man of Steel, it was mostly just dun 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 dun.
I'm sure he was just going with what the director wanted it to be.
Are you saying Zack Snyder is a talentless hack and an idiot who doesn't know what he wants or wants stupid things?
I'm so glad you're able to translate.
I'll happily sit and shit in Zack Snyder for like a little segment. Don't you worry. I'm always down for that. Oh, all of my movies have to look desaturated and they're really deep and you know. Do you know there was a thing on Twitter this week, Zack Snyder, because Zack Snyder fans just never seem to go away for some reason. They still want the Snyder cut, and they were comparing it to Shazam. And I know you weren't like super hot on Shazam, but like they were saying, "Oh, how did we go from this masterpiece to this Hallmark looking movie?" And I'm like, one of them's coherent, the other one is not. So quiet down.
The other one had all these complex themes about God versus man, but they don't like deliver on anything. Yeah.
I think Zack Snyder knows in theory what a theme is. I don't think he knows how to write a theme into a script.
Are we going to do any of his movies? Does he have any sci-fi movies?
Luckily, I don't think he does. I think we're in the clear.
Have you guys done Dawn of the Dead on Screams?
Not that one. We did the original. We haven't done the Snyder cut, if you want to call it that.
Snyder cut. It's never gonna go away.
Well, they all get hyped up again because they released an image of what Darkseid was going to look like in Justice League 2.
Oh yeah, that's still coming out.
No, it's not. It's not coming out. It's dead. It's dead, Jim.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was a Star Trek
sorry,
reference
DC fans, but you guys need another reboot.
Well, here's the thing, though. Half the DC fans, like me, hate those movies and want a fresh reboot, or at least want to move away from that as much as possible. I hate it. It's because I love those characters that I hate those movies so much.
Yeah. Well, you got lots of good movies still.
True. I have Dark Knight trilogy. I have the original Superman and Superman 2 even. I quite enjoy, and I even have a soft spot for Superman. Superman 3 is not a good movie, but I have a soft spot.
I like Superman 4. It's not a shock.
It's not as shocking as you like in this movie. Because you like Mystery Science Theater 3000, so at least I can understand on a goofy level how Superman 4 works for you.
I do kind of like bad movies.
Yeah. Nuclear Man.
Nuclear. As Gene Hackman says. Nuclear Man.
I'm surprised I don't say it like that. Because I saw that movie a lot as a kid. I'm surprised I don't say it like him. Oh no, the internet's breaking up. Oh, there you are. You're back.
I'm here.
We're good. I'll have to edit that. That's fine. That was quick enough. So, I suppose we can get on to the topic at hand then and give the spoiler warning for Alita Battle Angel, so we can talk about it in some depth. So Alita is woken up and given a body. We find out this body later, of course, was a body that Ego built for his daughter who passed away. Which actually, I want to jump ahead to that scene. There's a flashback at one point to this, and it's probably the worst scene in the whole movie.
I agree.
How did they make the flashback death of his daughter be this silly?
I don't know. I need drugs, man. I need them.
Dr. Ego, if we've not really explained this yet, he's like a doctor for cyborg parts, right? So people come and see him to get their parts replaced or fixed or tuned up or whatever. And he, once upon a time, was like a doctor for the Motorball games, and he helped like create more advanced like cyborg parts and stuff, so they'd be more big and deadly and exciting and so on. And one of his patients that got hopped up on drugs came by late one night and was trying to raid his medicine cabinets, and he tries to calm him down and tell him to stop. And then his daughter, who can't walk, which is why he was building a suit for her, she's in a wheelchair. And for some reason, as soon as this cyborg dude sees his daughter, he pushes him out the way and runs straight at the daughter in the wheelchair, who's not doing anything. It's not like she's a danger to him. He just runs into her like he's tackling someone on a football field.
Yeah, I don't think we needed this story, or this scene at all. Nope. I think if we had just heard him explain that she was lost, that would have been enough. I don't think we needed this. I mean, clearly the scene just doesn't work.
No, it's terrible. It made me laugh. It was laughable. Yeah, bad. I laughed. Because it was just this thing where he sees her and just starts charging at her. I'm like, why are you charging at the girl in the wheelchair? Like,
I don't know.
Not that you seem like you're
because drugs are bad.
No, it's not even like he seems like he's a completely horrible. But he's just a junkie. But junkies don't just attack people for no reason. Like, if he thought she had drugs or money to buy drugs on her, maybe he'd go for it. But she's in like a nightgown. She's clearly just came out of bed. She has nothing on her. And we don't even see her or go flying. We just we cut away for the moment of impact, and then when he looks back, the wheelchair's just sitting there empty. Like, how far did she fly? Where did she go?
I know, right? I mean, it's sad. It's so sad.
She's not a real person. It's not that sad.
Yeah, this scene should have been cut.
It should have been cut.
Yeah.
Look, I grew up in a house. My father was in a wheelchair. I mean, that's like a weird sentence. I grew up in a house, in a house where
Some people do.
Yeah, I grew up in a house where someone was in a wheelchair. My father was in a wheelchair. He had MS. So believe between you and me and everyone watching,
you're sympathetic. Yes.
Well, that's not where I'm going with this. No. Between you and me, as a child in a house with someone in a wheelchair, I know how to torment someone in a wheelchair, right? It was basically a daily activity. Is how do you wind someone up in a wheelchair, right? There are ways. And not once in my stupid adolescence did I ever think of just charging at my father like I was a bull. Where are we going next? I guess we'll stay on plot lines in this one. I feel like this is one where I want to tackle it in terms of subjects rather than going through the movie in chronological order. I feel like this neatly leads into just the guilt over his daughter, which leads us to her mother, his ex-wife, I guess.
I guess.
Played by...
They were both from the Elysium place.
Yeah, we find out later that they were both originally born there, and they had to move down here because their daughter was sick. I mean, do we take from that implication that either the rich place kicks out disabled people because they're awful, or is it that they don't allow cybernetics up there, so they left because at least down here we can give her a functional body?
I don't know. I assume they do allow cybernetics because people are able to get up there.
True. I mean, it never really made it clear.
You can win your way to the top.
Yeah, it never made it clear why they had to leave, though. Like, he says we had to come down here.
I guess they said because she was sick, so I guess maybe that is the implication.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But then if she gets a cybernetic, then she's not sick anymore, right? So... Unless
she's sick in other ways, too, that we're not seeing. Like, maybe she's got, like, let's say she has cancer, like... You know, pick a body part, right? But if they just take her head and put it on a cybernetic body, if you essentially beaten the cancer because the body that has cancer isn't attached to you anymore.
I mean, if you're up there, then you're clearly wealthy. Couldn't you afford to have things like that?
This is what I'm saying. It's not well thought. Like, I don't understand like why they had to move.
Yeah, I guess I don't understand either.
Good. I feel vindicated. Vindication. Thank you. But
I still like the movie.
Oh, that's fine. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I'm going through the list of things that bugged me. Jennifer Connelly's character, I think, is a waste of space and does not need to be in this movie.
Yeah, she's a weak character. Does she always play the same person, like in every movie?
You're saying that because we did Dark City a couple of months ago, and she feels
same.
It feels like she's just aged 20 years, but she's still the same character.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm trying to think, like, wasn't she in that? Well, she was in The Day the Earth Stood Still.
The remake, yes.
And, yeah, the remake, obviously.
No, she was in the original at -25.
And she was in, what other movie have I seen her in?
And before
I guess Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I only watched that once, though. I didn't want to watch it again. But I guess she played a sort of different character in that.
That's a very well-made movie.
Yeah, but I didn't want to watch it again.
No, I
watched it once and said, okay, I did it.
Yeah, that movie legitimately, the sounds of people popping pills in that movie legitimately made me feel sick. Like, I had like a bad stomach for like a few hours after watching that movie.
Yeah, it's a gross film. Everyone should watch it.
Yeah. But I think it's a good movie though, and I think it's something that everyone should see. I honestly think it's a movie you should show in schools. Like, here, this is why you don't get into hard drugs, people. Like, don't do heroin because this will happen.
Yeah, it's a PSA that is well directed.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason why it works is because it actually, like, because you call it a PSA, but I think a PSA by its nature is just the message. Where this is clearly a director who's like, no, I want to tell a story of the madness your mind goes through. You know.
Yeah.
When this happens, you know. So I think,
and is it Helen Bernstein?
Yeah, the old lady.
Yeah. I can't remember her name, but you need to watch it for her performance because she's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Although I think now, because I hate Jared Leto, going back and watching it might be harder than it was the first time.
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, what was I saying? I was talking about Jennifer Connelly's character. So her character has this arc, right? Well, she doesn't really, but the movie wants to pretend that she has this arc where she's working with the villain, Mahershala Ali, and she's secretly working against Ego and is going to help, like, you know, take in Alita, because she's promised of getting to return to the Elysium city, and
that's just what we're going to call it.
Yeah, she sort of stares at her a couple of times when she runs into her, once or twice, and then when she finds her, like you know, towards the end of the film, and her boyfriend's like dying, and she it turns out she ends up helping her. She has a change of heart, and we have a scene where she's with Ali, and she says, you know, I changed my mind. I let them go. And he's like, why did you let them go? It's like, because I forgot I was a mother and a doctor. And, you know, the whole idea being that she's actually had like a face turn at the end where she's decided, no, she's going to help because she realizes that she actually cares about the fact that this person has feelings, and so on and so on. That is a fine arc. That is a great arc in any cyborg movie, or even any movie where someone loses their way and has to, become a good person again. This movie is like 4 scenes, and it reeks of rushed shit. That I don't buy a second of it.
She's one of the weaker parts of the film. I agree. It's her character arc is just it's written in the script, but I just don't feel it. Like, okay, it's a bit of a turn, but whatever. She was hardly in the movie anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's my problem with the villains, actually, is that I feel like they're hardly in the movie as well. I mean, Mahershala Ali's in it a little bit more than she is. But he's just this puppet for this other guy. He's the puppet for Edward Norton, who's up in the Sky City, who just sort of like...
Yeah, that's the big reveal.
Yeah. He talks through him at the end. I have a question.
Yes? About Jennifer Connelly. So she goes to leave, and there are sentries there to stop her, so you assume something bad happens to her. Is she the one that ends up in the brain box?
I don't know. I never got the impression that was her, necessarily, but you may be right. Also, explain what the brain box is, because that's a weird sentence to say out without...
Yeah, so when Alita comes face to face with Mahershala Ali, and he gives a demonstration where he opens up a box, and there's a brain in it with eyeballs looking back at her, and some other organs keeping it alive, and like just floating in some kind of fluid, and then closes the box. But he says that, like, as he's explaining what happened to her, to Jennifer Connelly's character. So I guess that's her. He's keeping her alive because she's good with like the augments, right? She's good at finding people for the roller derby.
The roller derby. I feel
I don't
like
remember the names to anything.
I feel like the real villain being someone, because this is the thing. All the big scenes that Mahershala Ali has, he stops playing his character and he's taken over by I can't remember the villain's name. It's like Novak or something stupid like that. Nova. There you go. So his eyes go blue, and we understand that when his eyes go blue, it's actually Nova who's speaking through him, right? And is using his body as a vessel to talk from above, essentially, which is actually very biblical when you say it like that. I never even thought of that in the movie, but.
Oh yeah, he even does. Well, he doesn't do a biblical line. He does a line from Paradise Lost. Mahershala Ali does when talking about whether or not he wants to be up top. He says it's better to rule in hell than serve in heaven, which is from Paradise Lost. It's something that Satan says.
Which is actually, I'm glad you brought that line up, because the point I was about to make about this is that because all the big scenes that he has as a character is when he's not his character, it effectively makes Mahershala Ali's character kind of worthless and pointless. And that line you just gave me there about better to rule in hell than be a servant in heaven, when he's talking to Hugo at one point, because Hugo of course is working with the bad guys until X point of the movie, that is the only line in the whole film where he actually has a character, because other than that he is just a vessel that's just having generic dialogue until Nova speaks through him. And even though it's still obviously Ali playing the character for the most part, it makes it feel really weird, because I'm like it's one thing to reveal that there's a bigger bad pulling the strings behind at the end, or whatever, but I never get a sense of who Ali's character actually is and why we should hate him, why we should want Alita to defeat him. Outside of that, he's just kind of facilitating what the main bad guy wants. He's just a henchman. He's a stopgap, and there's nothing interesting about him.
He is, but he's still on top of this city. He's still in charge. He's still the big bad, even though of where they are now.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
He's not the big bad if they get to the Elysium place.
Yeah, in theory, but what's his character? Like, who is he? Like, tell me anything about him without describing what he looks like or anything else. Talk about his character. Who is he? Who is what's his name? Vector. Who is Vector?
Vector is the guy in charge of.
No, not his job role. Not his job role.
Henchman.
You're not allowed job role. I'm saying personality. I'm saying motivations. I'm saying, like, who is he? Why should we care about him?
Okay. Oh boy.
No, see, I'm glad you can't answer, because this is my point. There is no answer.
Okay. He's something to do with the the people who do the roller derby thing, right?
That's his job. Not like what I'm saying is,
But
is
he
that
also like steals augmented parts off of people, off a side. Yeah, I don't know.
think of any good
Off the
villain, right?
cyborgs.
This character makes zero decisions, and if he doesn't make any decisions, then because like the big guy, let's play, the big guy,
He's the guy. He's like the gatekeeper to get you into Elysium,
which
though.
is fine for a video game. That's your sub boss, but in a movie, if this is the main villain of this movie, and he is right, he's the one that gets defeated at the end. We should care about defeating him, and we don't because he has nothing going for him. He doesn't make any decisions on his own. He just as a vessel for Nova, who doesn't get defeated because we have to have him for the sequel, right? So we have nothing from him. We have not at least the characters underneath him, like the big cyborg dude played by Jackie Earle Haley. He's this big it actually reminds me of the mech from
209.
No, I was going to say it reminds me more of the robot from 1995 Judge Dredd. Remember the one that Rico gets?
Oh yeah.
It reminded me a lot of that, but he's got like a face,
like a Terminator skull.
Yeah, but the rest of it's all this big chunky metal, like kind of like Hulk size kind of thing. Like he has a personality. Even Zappin, the bounty hunter that kind of gives them shit, he has a personality at least. He's enough of a dick that you care about Alita beating him, right? You want Alita to beat him. The big guy, you don't necessarily care about her beating him so much, but he's kind of like funny because he's always angry that she's beating them, and it's a bit of a character. Ali, Mahershala Ali's character and Alita don't even encounter each other until the scene where they meet at the end of the film. They never talk or communicate in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
We have no reason. We don't see him like make a bad choice where he says, "Oh, well,
he's just there who to say, I want Alita dead because that's what Nova wants." You're right.
Yeah. I'm always ranting a bit there. I feel strongly about this, okay? I feel strongly about it.
I could tell. I know this movie's not great.
Good.
But I still kind of enjoyed it. I don't know.
Hey,
Maybe it's because my expectations were so low. That's happened to me in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe if I rewatch it, I won't like it. But
I like a lot of dumb movies, right? I do. But I do think that's.
But the main stuff with Alita, like, I kind of liked watching her kick ass, and I didn't think I would like the roller derby thing, but I got into it, and.
No, I agree. The best thing is her performance. I like her action scenes, and I like the derby thing was a bit too much. Like, just this is a cartoon now because absolutely everything was just CG. But there was some fun beats in it. And I kind of liked her attitude. It didn't necessarily go down the same path that all these stories kind of do, where she remembers who she is and she like changes completely. She still feels like her the entire time.
She's still positive the whole way through. Yeah.
And that's kind of
I mean, I never not like Christoph Waltz.
Oh yeah, he's likable enough. I mean, again, his character though again is a complete cliche. I'll at least say this: I'm shocked he wasn't dead by the end. Like opening, like
me too.
10 minutes.
I thought he was done for.
Yeah, I was. This is the old dude from Hellboy, who has to always die.
Yeah, she's got to be defiant and say, I'm not going to listen to you, and then it cost him his life, and now she has to take vengeance, and I'll avenge you, and I'm sorry I didn't listen.
So what we're saying
that never happened.
What we're saying is we thought they were going to Uncle Ben him.
Yes. Exactly. We didn't get
it. So I mean, I guess credit for that, I suppose. But the fact is, so I think the biggest problems in the movie, I talked about the villains being very underwhelming and not feeling like they're actually that much of a focal point, which is a kind of a big deal. And I think the other big problem in the movie is how much of it is devoted to the romance between Alita and Hugo, and how the entire back half of the movie, like I thought, when I started this movie, when I saw the trailers, I thought I don't know what I thought. I thought she'd be rising up against the system. She'd be doing this. She'd be doing that. The entire back half of this movie is about him being in peril and her saving him, and then making sure he's still safe. Like that is the entire third act of this movie.
I didn't care for him being turned into a cyborg.
No, I didn't care about the fact that he was actually doing villainous things. I didn't care like, and it
I didn't
isn't
mind that.
like
I didn't mind that he was like, because you kind of saw right from the beginning that he was. They didn't try to hide it. Like he wasn't even really trying to hide it from Alita. Like he just had to. His job was to go collect parts from cyborgs.
Actually, do you know what the first scene was where I knew I'd hated this character?
Huh.
He's like, oh, I've got a special spot, a secret spot I want to show you. And he's got this secret spot that he loves the view from up in this abandoned church, up in the like one of the spires. And I'm like, this is cliche romance bullshit.
I couldn't believe he's like, I just love the view. But if you look behind him, there's like a taller building that the view would probably be better from.
Yeah, but that's not abandoned. He can't get in there.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just such a cliche that the guy has the secret spot. He wants to show the girl that has this great
Yeah,
view.
but it's a young adult movie also. You know, she is a teenager, she's fallen in love, and there's going to be some stupid teenager love tropes.
Well, okay. Since we're on the subject, then how are they going to have sex? Answer me that.
I don't know. Maybe she's fully functional.
Does she have a drive? Is there a slot?
Well, I mean, her dad, I mean, it was a dad that made it for his daughter, so no, definitely not.
Definitely not. Yeah, and then later on, like, because of the thing, like they never talk about it. And like they have their first kiss, and they're having these romantic moments. He's teaching her how to play the game, and these friends get annoyed at him for spending so much time with her and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but how do you can you be intimate? Like, is that a
They're
thing?
teenagers. That's disgusting.
He's not a teenager.
They're teenagers. Also, the other suit that she gets is nanotechnology, and it adapts to the body that she thinks that she has.
Sure.
So she can just wield a vagina.
Okay, but what about once he's a cyborg as well?
Oh, I don't know.
There's like
Got to get that Desert Eagle out.
there's like an oily like rod comes out.
Oh, they can just cuddle, sleep, hold hands, share pudding pops.
There's a lot of hard questions here, and again, this is part of what I was saying earlier about not really exploring the cyborg world and how it works. And
this is a young adult movie. I don't think that part needs to be explored.
I'm so sorry. I'm looking for things that would make it interesting.
I was interested.
I don't even know where you say this. All right. So she becomes a hunter killer because she finds out, because it turns out that Ego is Dr. Edo, as I keep saying Ego, it's Edo. He turns out he has a big hammer thing, and he goes and tries to collect bounties, but they're all after Alita, and it turns out she can fight. So she wants to sign up and like be on the patrol as a bounty hunter because it means they can defend themselves better. And she finds this suit that belongs not specifically to her, but to people like her, in this crashed ship. Which, by the way, it's been 300 years, and like no one's like pillaged this ship in this fairly findable location. All right.
I guess.
Whatever. Stupid movie.
There's a lot of trash to go through.
Oh dear. Look, I just the romance just doesn't work for me. I don't like. And he's like, "Oh, I've got this dream. I want to go up to the city. I've got these plans." And she's like, "Oh, I'll make money for you. I can do it. I can get some bounties. I can play in rollerball or."
Hey, when you care about somebody, yeah, you make sacrifices.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that. Like, I get that part. I'm saying that I just don't buy the relationships at this point. And I don't know. I don't. So yeah. So he's So we've not mentioned Zapan, who hates her guts because we see him early on, but there's a scene in the middle where she goes into this bar that's just for bounty hunters, and she's like, "Listen up, that idiot, that villain, Vector. He's he has a hold on everyone. We should rise up against him. Let's band together." And Zapan, I have to check his name every time because it's such a stupid name. Zapan has to. He just makes fun of her and belittles her, and it's a whole thing. But then she kind of threatens him, and a fight breaks out, and she takes his sword, she kicks him away, the whole thing, and it starts this big fight, which leads to this big fight.
I hate whenever movies tell us when it's time to laugh at a joke.
Oh yeah,
and this movie does that here.
What was the joke? Go on.
I don't really even remember. It was just something about his face, and then like everybody laughs. Like, well, no, I just hate it when people tell us, or when a movie tells us when it's time to laugh, because the jokes does not work.
Yeah, she also says something about don't mess up your hair, and he's not got any hair because he's got his face, and then everything else is robotic. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, but this is where the big guy first comes in. She fights him, and this is where the shot from the trailer where she's like diving through all the mechanical like tentacles, and she actually gets all her arms and legs cut off. So this is what finally convinces Ido to put her in the war suit, which she found, because at first he didn't want to.
Suit.
Yeah. So
yeah, it was kind of a cool scene.
Oh, the fight scene was good. Yeah, the fight was enjoyable. I can't fault it.
Good fight. I like the scene also before when she finds the suit and he refuses to put her in it because she is drawn to it, and he says no because you are a weapon, and if the damage that you can do in the suit that I made for you, I mean, I can't imagine what you can do with a berserker suit. And I don't know, I kind of was digging like her history that was popping up.
The flashbacks themselves were just only okay. Also, it was really distracting hearing Michelle Rodriguez's voice coming out of her captain or whoever it was.
Michelle Rodriguez.
I recognized her voice. As the thing, I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure that was Michelle Rodriguez because I heard her voice and I was like, that sound. If it wasn't, it just sounded a lot like her.
They got a Rodriguez-esque actress.
I'm not seeing her name, but it's a really big list, so I could just be missing it.
I don't know the name of the character, so I would be able to help you out.
Yeah, nor do I.
So she's probably not named like Jenny or something.
Who was your character in Alita, Miss Rodriguez? I was Dolores. Dolores is my name. Just one final thing in that fight though with the big guy is I do love that after she gets her limbs cut off, she's got one arm left and she launches herself with one arm and then sticks her one arm in his eye to win the fight. So she still wins even though she's got like almost no limbs.
She's a fighter.
She is a fighter. No, I mean the fight scenes are mostly fun. They're a little bit too cartoony looking at times, but like the actual
but they're still coherent. It's one thing like when you watch anime or even like Transformers and stuff, and you can't quite figure out what's going on. And this movie, I never had that problem.
No, it's directed well where you understand exactly the geography of the action scene. No, it does. It really does. And she has this idea to go into the motor ball and win money. And it's right at this time where Hugo is feeling bad, so he tries to stop his friends from, because what they're doing actually, I've not even explained this yet. The thing they're actually doing is like kidnapping or like pinning down like cybernetic people in the street and like stealing their limbs and leaving them there, and like that's really dark and sick, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty dark, but so Zapan shows up, kills his buddy, says he's going to blame it on him, so there'll be a bounty on him so he can chase him. So he's running away as the actual race or round or whatever you call it in this game starts. And he's like, hey, Alita, he's trying to kill me, I need help. So she, flies out of the arena and sort of chases, towards him. As all the other players are trying to kill her because Mahershala Ali has put a bounty on her head in the game. Say, hey, whoever kills her in the game will get, however much, 50 grand or something like that.
I think it was like $500,000 of whatever units of currency they have.
Yeah, who knows what currency they have? It's the future. It's weird. I don't know. Like Canadian money.
Yes, my people. They make it all the way. All the way to Elysium.
All the way. So she gets there, but Marzipan.
Marzipan. Yeah.
Marzipan Marzipan stabs him anyway because this is the thing. She has this big dramatic moment where she says, "No, well, I've seen the warrant for him now. He's my kill. He's mine." And he's like, "Well, go on then. Don't let us down. Kill him." Because he wants to torture her essentially by making her do this. And this is the point where I'm like, this is the first time she's had to actually consider that she might kill someone as she does this job. I'm like, what, like, how did the movie not explore the idea that this was her job now?
I think she was okay with killing someone. I think she wasn't okay with killing her boyfriend.
Yeah, but like, think about it. Like, this is such a shift for her character when she makes this choice to become this, and she never actually has to do anything with it. She never actually has to like suffer the consequence of like like give us a scene where she does kill someone that's got a bounty on them, but make it be a little bit difficult. Like give her some guilt and like it was kind of hard, so that this scene has more context for her.
I mean, she stabbed a cyborg in the eyeball.
Who was trying to kill her? That was self-defense. That's not the same.
Okay.
And he's not dead.
I thought he was.
He comes back. But yeah, so that scene just bugged me, and then her mum helps, or not her mum, but like the mum of the previous person who was called Alita that she's kind of replaced in a surrogate way, helps them like cut off his head but keep him alive by connecting him to her heart, which is this like really expensive power source. Which also, that's the other thing, they set up her heart as this like fuel source that people will want because it's worth millions, and never really do anything with it outside of like using it to save him. I'm like I was expecting, in the first Iron Man.
For the sequels.
Yeah, maybe in the first Iron Man where like Tony is missing his heart for a bit, like his reactor thing. It's a great little scene. I thought I was expecting something like that in this, where she's like having to like struggle with her heart for like a minute or something like that.
She seemed to be pretty capable of just living without it, because she was like willing to just sell it at one point.
Oh yeah, because she was going to replace it with another source. Like, yeah, we can get a cheap replacement kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they give him a cyborg body. She goes off to, because at this point in the movie, it's a 2-hour movie, right? And at this point, I checked the time. There was like 15 minutes left, and she's like, "I'm going to go and like confront the bad guy." So we get this confrontation with Vector that means nothing because we barely know him. He's barely had any real character development.
Yeah, the point was to introduce Nova, who's on Elysium.
And she, like, he thinks he's got the upper hand because the big guy shows up again, but she's now got a sword she stole from Marzipan, and she charges it with her body's like energy, which makes it like a lightning, not lightning, but it gives like a force field around the sword.
Yeah.
And she actually cuts off one of these like chain tentacle things, and he's like, "Oh shit," which, by the way, there's an F. This is a PG-13 and it has an F-bomb. It has its one F-bomb at one point, where she tells the big guy to go F himself or something like that, or F your like code or something like that. It stuck out. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, I guess it would be PG-13 since there's no actual blood, but there's so much violence in it. They really like toe the line. There's
a lot of combat, but I didn't get away with it because it's all robotic limbs and stuff. It's it's almost never like human parts that are getting hurt. But no, they have to one F-bomb, and I guess it's so kind of light and cartoony that it really caught me off guard when she dropped that. But fair enough. So, I'm sorry, Tara. Is this
I'm so bored.
Bored
I'm
now.
having a good time.
Yeah. So she wins the fight, and that's not even the end of the movie though. There's another little tacked on section where the boyfriend who's got up out of the bed, because the last we saw him, he was lying in the bed with his new robot body. He's still asleep. She gets a call from Ido. Hey, Hugo's left. He's running from the forces, and she's like, "Where did he go?" I think he's going up. So the one thing they introduced earlier in the movie about the flying city above them, or the hovering city, is that there's these big like tubes that go up at the side of it for like material and stuff, so they can send up like resources and things like that. He's like walking up this up to the city. Because in one of the flashbacks,
which they also established that he said, "If I had your body, I would just do that. I would just run up."
Yeah, screenwriting 101. He mentioned early on that he would do it. He also said early on
Hey, Screenwriter 101. This is a James Cameron script.
This is not his draft. There's no way this is his draft.
You don't know.
This is not his draft. I'm going to check how many writers are on this piece of shit.
I think I just saw 2 names.
No, okay, it's just 2 names. But you know what? This Laisha Kalogridis. I'm blaming you. I'm blaming you. Yeah. Based on the graphic novel series Gum by
Isn't that called Alita Battle Angel?
Yukito Kishiro. Yes?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You know what I'm going to say? I'm glad he's doing Avatar 2 instead of this. Or was. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad of that.
Yeah, fact. Me too.
So he's walking up. Alita's trying to stop him. And of course, Evo or Devo or Davo or Devon.
Ito?
No, who's the villain? Nova?
Oh, I don't know.
That was it.
Nova?
Yeah, Nova.
Yeah, Nova. Like the show.
So it turns out he has big spiky spinny things that come down the pipe to stop anyone from doing this. So they do a bit of a jump, but he gets his limbs cut off. She grabs him, but his one arm remaining is falling apart. And we get a tragic death scene where she has to watch the love of her life fall into the void of nothing. And he's dead.
Oh, you weren't sad?
No! I was like, why is this here? This bullshit scene. And then the movie ends with her, like, because the one way you can get up to the city, the floating city, is becoming the #1 champion in the motorball. So she, we jump a little bit of time ahead. She's got a really fancy like new mech suit or armor, or at least around her suit, that make her good in the game. And she, she's the winner. She's standing in front of the crowd of thousands or hundreds of thousands. And she's up.
Returning champ.
Yeah, she looks up at the sky, and Nova's looking down at her, and he takes off his like fancy, like futuristic goggles, and it reveals that it's Edward Norton. Norton. That was like I was doing like what accent's that? It just misses the
Scottish.
R. No, Scottish don't do that. Norton.
I don't know what that was.
Well, no, I'm not. I don't think I sound. I'm thinking of a Boston accent. I don't think I sound like I'm not doing a Boston accent. God. But yeah, the way I missed the R sounded very Boston. That was like a Boston-esque thing to do. But yeah, so he's looking down at her, and she's like pointing her sword at him, and it's like, I'm coming for you kind of thing. And then the title happens. That is the end of the movie. It is nothing but a sequel bait ending. And I came out of this feeling like there was no real ending, that the story didn't really have a conclusion. I did enjoy when Marzipan got his face sliced off, though. That was enjoyable. I'll say that.
You got to see like some teeth and like a tongue flapping around.
Yeah. No blood or oil though, which was weird.
Oh, he has blue blood. We saw him with his nose running.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Like this bright blue blood.
Yeah, it's blue blood. Yeah. Like Vulcan?
No.
Green? Is it green blood?
Yeah, they have green blood.
Oh, damn it. I knew it was green or blue. I had a 50-50. I'm sorry.
Andorians have blue blood. Andorians can be found on the hit television show Star Trek.
Do you know, I did do a Sly Buffy reference earlier, which I didn't point out. When you were joking you were bored, I think that's when I said
Oh, yeah.
I said bored now. That's a reference to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
There it is.
Yep, there you go. I got it in somehow.
What if James Cameron does a sequel?
No one's going to fund it. It's not happening.
You don't think so?
It'll be better if it did, don't get me wrong. But
you don't think they'd make another one with like a smaller budget?
Nah. I think this was DOA. This was a... I don't know exactly what it made, but it did not do well.
I don't know. The trailers didn't sell me on it, but I kind of wish I saw it in the theater because the special effects were really good.
I can't believe we came out of this with you being the more positive one. I really, like, going into this, I thought I would kind of like it and you would hate it. And I had way more problems with it. And you were like, it's actually not that bad. I don't know. I think it's crammed with too many things. It doesn't explore any one thing enough. I think the villain doesn't work. I mean,
I can't say that I didn't enjoy watching it. I will say that I fell asleep at one point, but I was really tired and I was watching it in bed.
Sure. That's what it was. You were tired. Yeah, it wasn't the movie.
Oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm
I
still tired. That's why I keep yawning.
I was zoning out. The more it went on a little bit. I think the focus on what the plot was just, I don't know. It wasn't as fulfilling in personal enough story, and I guess it's because they're trying to save so much for potential sequels. But I think in doing that, they just hurt their own film because nothing felt like it was important because that it just all felt like it was set up for later, as opposed to when you go back and watch Batman Begins, you don't feel like you're just getting sequel teased. There's one scene at the end where it's like, hey, Joker's coming, but other than that, it is a full story with a beginning, middle, and end, and you feel satisfied, like you've had a full meal. I feel like I was teased with some soup here, and I never got the steak. Right, the steak just never came to the table. Or what's the vegan equivalent? I'm just going for a metaphor.
Bean burrito.
Bean burrito. The bean burrito never came. Doesn't work. Oh dear. So, I was hoping that I'd come out of this being like really enthusiastic and be like, oh, this is kind of enthusiastic 7. I'm kind of, I was hoping for something to that level. And I didn't get that. Is there anything else you want to talk about in the movie that I've glossed over? I don't know if I.
I don't think so. I think we've covered it all.
All right, that's code for let's just wrap up this damn recording so we can get on with things because
let's rate it.
It's too long. Yeah, let's rate it. You first.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm kind of positive on the movie. Obviously, it's not flawless. I still have issues with it. Overall, maybe it's because I went in with my expectations so low that I enjoyed the majority of the movie and was incredibly impressed by the effects and the lead performance. And if they make more, I'll watch it. So I'm going to give it what I gave Bumblebee because I kind of see them as a bit similar. And that's going to be a 6.5.
They also share an actor.
Oh, yeah? Who's that?
Yeah, the Hugo's friend was the love interest in Bumblebee.
Oh, that's where he was from.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, Jennifer Connelly was in Dark City, which we did already. So we're getting to this point now where we're seeing actors pop up again in movies, just at random, like, oh yeah, that person's in this.
Yep.
So see how it goes. For me, like I like the lead's performance. I think the character's likable. I like how she's always positive. I think some of the action's pretty fun, a bit cartoony, but fun in its execution. And how it, the geography, the pacing of it, it's kind of over the top in a way that you can follow, and I appreciate that. I do love like cyberpunk worlds with cyborg parts and things like that. I just wish it either chose to like go into that more. Like I would take out the entire boyfriend and just get rid of him out of the movie completely. I think that's
she's a teenager though. Kind of have the teenage plot.
I'd get rid of all of it. And the villains could do with being fleshed out and actually making it feel like the villain that we actually fight in this movie with the protagonist is feeling like it's worth something and not just like, yeah, okay, that dude who is the villain because he's a big actor and nothing else, basically. So with all that said, I was thinking through as I was watching it was probably gonna be like a 5.5. The final 20 minutes pissed me off, so I'm giving this a 4 out of 10.
Ooh, that's low.
Sequel bait bullshit at the end without feeling satisfying in the first place. The entire death of the boyfriend and the dropping him was just painfully tedious. Cliche, full of tropes, all these romance bullshit cliches. I'm not down for it, so yeah.
Okay. I think that's kind of low for it, but that's all right. I'm sure most people will agree with you.
Yeah, some people may agree with you. Don't play yourself down like that. Stick up for yourself.
I'm just saying that most people are wrong.
Fight me on it. What's good about the movie? I mean, I would have said that, but like, just it's fine. It's fine. I mean, I am definitely in charge. Let's not anyone confuse that. But you don't have to agree with me. Any way, shape, or form.
We did have a talk.
Okay, I'm joking. We're equals in this show. We're completely equals. I'm more equal than you are, but we're equals.
I don't know if you understand the definition of equal. I better get a raise after this. All
Okay.
this abuse I'm going through.
All right, you've had a rough episode. So I'm going to shake up the ending here a little bit and say we'll go straight to the Patreon plug. Tara, go.
Yeah, if you like what we do, our reviews, you can go to our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/milefuzztv. You can donate as little as $1 per month, and that dollar gets you bonus episodes of the A's. We've got, 2 up? We're about to record a 3rd one, so that's exciting.
In fact, by the time this goes up, the 3rd one will already be there.
All right, so thanks for donating. I hope you guys enjoyed those.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed Robo Vampire. So yeah,
I certainly did.
Yeah. Yeah, go to Patreon. You can also support us by rating the podcast on your podcast app, Apple Podcasts or whatever. Helps more people find it. If you give it 5 stars, give it a nice review. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you thought of the movie in the comments below. All that good stuff. Get us on Twitter at the Ace Podcast. And if you want to ask us questions on at the Ace Podcast, we'll pick a few time from time and do some questions on the show as maybe like a final segment. So, feel free to ask us questions on at the Ace Podcast.
That'd be cool.
So there you go. You gotta do that. And what else did I need to say? What else did I do at the end? Yeah. So obviously, we often have a Mystery Science Theater section at the end. We don't have that this week. We will have that back for you next week. I believe we are doing Mitchell. Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. So Mitchell. We'll have that next time.
So good.
Along with another 2019 movie as the main event. The main movie we're doing next week. Do you remember it, Tara?
No. Oh, is it the John Goodman one?
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
Captive State.
There you go. We got there in the end. What's really bad about that is that earlier on I was like, hey, let's make sure this is available for renting today. And Tara went and checked. And it was there. So that's why I was trusting that she'd know what it was. But but to be fair, this is the first time I've not had to look at the schedule because usually I'm like, oh, let's find out. I'll go and check. It's usually that I'm doing at the end. But this week I had it locked and loaded. It was ready to go in here. Thank you very much. So there we go.
You're welcome.
That has been the Atomic Cinema Experiment. This has been episode 16, I think. What a wild ride it's been. Hopefully you enjoyed us blabbering on about Alita Battle Angel, and you'll come back for more and check out our old episodes and everything else. Tara, what are your final thoughts? Doesn't have to be movie related. Is there a final statement you would like to say? You can reiterate a point from earlier. You can just make a statement.
It's better to rule in hell than serve in heaven.
Very well said. This has been the show. Thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching sci-fi movies, guys. And remember, computer, add salsa.
Yum, yum.